Hello there guys and welcome to Student Meals. In this episode I will show you a super delicious and super easy recipe for a classic tomato soup with a twist. I hope that you enjoy this episode. So the ingredients are tomatoes. Because it's a soup, the measurements aren't that precise. So I took about 1.4 kilograms of tomatoes, which I've cut up into small cubes. 1 red onion, which I've roughly sliced up. You can also use a normal onion, but I like the sweetness of a red onion. 1 large carrot and about 2 celery sticks, which I've also cut up into rough pieces that are not too large and not too small. 2 cloves of garlic, which I've sliced up into thin slices. About 2 teaspoons of tomato puree, 1 tablespoon of sugar, about 1.3 liters of vegetable stock. You can also use chicken stock. Again, these measurements aren't precise, so if you're off by whatever milliliters, it doesn't really matter. It's a soup, so calm down. About 2 bay leaves. And for the seasoning, you can pretty much do whatever you like. You can keep it simple and just use salt and pepper. But I also like to add a little bit of thyme, cayenne pepper, and paprika powder. This is a pretty basic tomato soup, but if you don't want to use celery, carrot, whatever, you can also do a super plain basic soup with just tomatoes, stock, and a little bit of butter. That can also be a soup. Again, do whatever. Let's do this. I also forgot to mention that we're going to be using some olive oil. So let's start with the soup. Take a large pot and put it on a fire. Add a good amount of olive oil in there and let it get hot. Once the olive oil is hot, add in your celery and the carrot, the onion, and the garlic. Give it a good stir. Lower the fire to medium-low and let everything sweat for about 10 minutes. So about 10 minutes later, as you can see, the vegetables are getting a bit softer. So now we can proceed with the next step. Take your tomato puree and add about 2 teaspoons in there. Hi, I'm an adult. And give everything a good stir. Make sure that the tomato puree is well combined with the rest and let it fry for a minute or two so that the strong taste of the tomato puree fades away. Now let's add the tomatoes. Woo. Give everything a little stir so that the tomatoes are everywhere and the bottom part doesn't burn. Now it's time for the seasoning. Let's add the sugar. This will enhance the sweetness of the tomatoes. Then the bay leaves. The thyme, you can be quite generous with it. About a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a teaspoon or 2 of paprika powder, because I just love paprika powder. And finally, some salt and some pepper. You can also adjust the seasoning at the end, so don't go too crazy with pepper and salt at this moment. Now, give everything a really thorough stir. Put it on a low fire, put a lid on it, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes, this is the result. Now we're going to add the vegetable stock. I'm just going to dump the whole pot in there. Here we go. Give it a nice stir. Basic definition of a soup. You cut some shit, you boil it, you stir. Done! Now, put it on a high heat and let it come to a boil. Alright, as you can see, the soup is boiling very nicely. Now, lower the fire to medium-low. Put a lid on it and let it simmer for about 25 minutes. It's 25 minutes later and your soup is almost done. Now, just take out the laurel leaves, if you can find them at least. Take a stick blender and blend everything until it's a nice paste. And there you go! Now you have yourself a really nice and creamy soup. All you have to do now is just taste and season it to your liking. Mine just needs a little bit more salt. I'm just going to whisk it up. And there you go! Serve it up with a little bit of parsley as decoration and it's done!
Time for a test! It's hot.
It's soup.
Tomato soup is actually my favorite kind of soup. I love tomato soup above all the other soups. It's a real nice classic, and I really love love this one. It's a bit spicy. Leo went a bit heavy on the cayenne pepper, but
I love my cayenne pepper.
but it's still really good though, and it really warms me up on those cold winter days. So I'm gonna finish this bowl. If you like this episode, feel free to hit that like button, and if you like all of our episodes, feel free to subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate all of your support, and also if you leave a comment, that's nice as well. So thank you guys for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and as always, see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ah, it's hot.